Hey babes, welcome to Gore&Gossip. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Jordan, and this is your weekly deep dive into all things terrifying true crime cases, cold blooded killers, and the occasional creepy conspiracy.
Plus, haunted dolls, cursed mirrors, and that one time your aunt swore her house was built on a portal to the underworld.
If it's bloody, bizarre, or just plain bone chilling, we're talking about it.
And yes, we're bringing the gossip too, because what's a murder without a little side eye?
So lock the doors, light a candle,
And let's
and
get into
get
it.
into it.
We'll get it. We'll get it. We're
We'll
just
get
going to
it.
leave that. All right. So, actually, before I want to get into this week's case, I just wanted to mention really quick. Did you see that yesterday Matt Rife had made an announcement that he bought Ed and Lorraine Warren's house and like museum?
I did not hear about that at
Oh
all,
my
and
God. So he
I'm shocked by that. Truly and
isn't
honestly,
that like
what?
a weird development? Like that's crazy. If all people, we were talking about it earlier, and I was like, oh yeah, he came up on my For You page, and I just like scrolled past because I don't care about Matt Rife anymore at all. And I was like, I guess maybe that's what he was like gonna say. And then Dag played it for me, and I was like, why him? Like, why Matt Rife of all? Like, what possessed him? Like, did the doll of like Annabelle like possess him to like buy? Like, what happened? Him and like his one friend, I forget who it was. They like decided to, I guess, buy it. So like now they're like responsible for all the things, and apparently they're gonna be like renting out the house like for like an overnight stay or whatever, and like doing museum tours, and like he's now like the owner or like the caretaker is what he said of all of like the artifacts, and including Annabelle, who Dag keeps telling me he keeps seeing report as missing again.
She keeps on going out
Yeah,
of the area that she's supposed to be in. It's
I
insane.
know,
So I
I
can't
know.
imagine Matt Rife having possession over her. What is going to happen to him? I'm
Right, yeah.
actually genuinely worried about it
Yeah.
now.
Well, I guess we'll keep a close eye on this. I just had to mention it because it literally just happened. And I was like, we need to talk about that really quick before we get into anything.
Thank you, because I had no idea, and I probably wouldn't have known until something bad happened,
Oh my
because
God.
that's crazy.
That's what I said. I was like, I don't understand what possessed him of all people to go and do this. I mean, maybe he's into all that kind of stuff too, but I don't know. I just thought that was like a really random like person to be going and buying the property and now like is in charge of it. I thought that
If
was
you
so weird.
if you told a Victorian child that a comedian in 2025 would buy a haunted museum and home from paranormal investigators, I think they would pass away like
Yeah.
immediately. They would be
Yeah.
like, "What?"
Yeah. I thought that
Because
was insanity. I just had to put that out there real quick before we got into everything else because of course we got to talk about something spooky, but I thought that was crazy.
oh my goodness, thank you, Nicole, for
You're
informing
welcome.
me.
All right. So let's get into it now. So this week we're going to be talking about a true crime case that has reality TV and real life horror that canceled not only one but two reality TV shows. It's about a beautiful model who got caught in the orbit of a reality TV contestant that looked like a dream on camera but was a total nightmare behind the scenes. This is the case of Jasmine Fiore.
I'm so into this.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is a crazy one. This is pretty crazy and gruesome. It's so gruesome and
Oh,
horrible. All right. On August 14th, 2009, Jasmine Fiore and Ryan Jenkins checked into. I didn't look up the pronunciation of this hotel, so I'm sorry. I'm gonna butcher this. La Berge
that
Hotel
sounds good
in
to
Del
me.
Mar, California. I don't know. I really should have looked at the pronunciation on that. I'm so sorry. They were seen on surveillance checking in with Ryan carrying the bags, typical normal check in. That night, they attended a poker event and a after party. And at the after party, they were seen arguing. Jasmine left early, and Ryan was seen following soon after. but that was the last time anyone saw Jasmine alive. The next morning, August 15th, Ryan checked out of the hotel alone. Later that day, he reported Jasmine missing to the police, saying she left the apartment to run errands, but she never came back. Meanwhile, in Buena Park, California, a suitcase was being discovered behind a dumpster. And inside was a mutilated body that was made to be unidentifiable, or so the killer thought. How was Jasmine identified? Well, we'll get into that. But first, I want to talk about the victim at the center of this. So let's talk about Jasmine a little bit. Jasmine Fiore was born in Santa Cruz, California in 1981 and was raised primarily by her mom, Lisa Lepore. There's really nothing about her dad. I didn't really see much about him. I don't think I digged really hard enough. Maybe I didn't even see anything about like his name come up. It was just everything was about her mom. From what I could see, her mom and her had a really good relationship. Growing up, Jasmine rode horses and worked at a local grocery store. She was seen as somewhat of a tomboy. She liked to play football with the guys, and I guess playing football can constitute you as a tomboy.
I guess.
She was pretty down to earth. Her friends and family said that she was a very kind and friendly person, that she was very sincere, and of course, very beautiful. Her mom, in an interview with ABC, said she was kind-hearted, she was thoughtful, adventurous, she was strong. She loved animals, and she went out of her way to look after her friends and her family. It was also stated in multiple interviews that she was just a beautiful person inside and out. A family friend named Gwendolyn Beauregard, who is like a mother figure to Jasmine, had said that she was just as beautiful inside as she was outside, and that men just fell in love with her at first sight, stating she might as well have been Marilyn Monroe reincarnated. I feel like that's such a beautiful thing to say about
That
somebody.
is so
To say
beautiful.
that they were just so beautiful inside, and outside she might have well have just been Marilyn Monroe, making men like swoon over her, and just everybody loved her.
She sounds like such a cool girl too.
Yeah,
I mean, like
right?
genuinely so cool. And
I know.
if anyone said that I was like Marilyn Monroe reincarnated,
I
I
would
would,
die. I would keel
I
over
would
and die
pass
right there. My
away.
life
You
would be
literally,
done. Yeah, yeah.
literally.
My life is done.
Oh my
I've
God.
peaked. I've peaked. That's it. It doesn't get better than that, in my opinion.
Seriously.
Well, Jasmine, she had big dreams for her future. She became a model when she grew up. She did modeling for swimsuits and lingerie. She even did some Playboy shoots. She actually was in. There's an episode of her about the Playboy bunnies. That what is that? It's like that docu-series show. I can't remember the name of it right now, but there is an episode in there about her.
Wow. With like
Yeah,
Holly Madison and
yeah,
everything.
yeah, yeah. I think there's an episode in there. She flew back and forth between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, booking gigs. Excuse me, I can't speak right now. Apparently.
Bibs. Thinking about the baby.
Oh yeah, okay. It's mom brain 24/7 over here. Sorry. From the outside, Jasmine seemed to have a pretty glamorous lifestyle, but friends said that she was actually super down to earth and even pretty private at times. That she just wanted to shed the model lifestyle and she wanted to work in real estate or be a personal trainer. There were some relationships she had throughout her adult life. She had an on again and off again relationship with her former fiance, Travis Henrich, before they finally kind of called it quits. He seemed to still be around in her life a little bit later, but especially throughout this, he was around a bit, but they just couldn't make it work, unfortunately. And Jasmine just wanted to have a life of stability and love, but I mean, unfortunately for her, it just never came. I mean, who doesn't? Who doesn't want to just like have, love and stability and just peace in their life?
That just breaks my heart, knowing
I
that she
know.
wanted that so badly and wanted to live a private life, and it just breaks my heart because I know what's coming, and
Yep.
it's just like,
Yeah. When
no.
you know what comes to to these victims who this is what they wanted. They just wanted to be this light and just live their lives, and you have people like this who just ruin that and take that from them, and it's horrible.
It's just so sad and so
I know.
heartbreaking. Yeah.
So it was March of 2009, and Jasmine was in Vegas, reportedly at a casino where she met Ryan Jenkins. So now here we are meeting Ryan Jenkins. And let's talk a little bit about him. He was a real estate investor from Alberta, Canada, who often presented himself as a successful businessman, confident, well dressed, and seemingly accomplished. He talked about owning property, investing in real estate, and living a high rolling lifestyle between Canada and the US. I guess this facade of charisma and showboating is what got him on a VH1 reality dating TV show called Megan Wants a Millionaire. But that's exactly what it was. It was just a facade. Just go and scratch the surface just a little bit, and this man was a walking red flag. Unfortunately for Jasmine, he was just good at hiding it. Until he wasn't, because they're never good at hiding it for long. They
Never.
hide it just long enough that they just entrap you, and then that's it. They've already done all of the work to keep you there. So Jasmine and Ryan met at this Hawaiian party in Vegas, and it was apparently love at first sight because within 48 hours of meeting, they got married. Let's let
I
that
mean,
sink in for a second. 48 hours. I mean, I guess it's Vegas. That happens, right?
but don't do it. But
No,
don't
don't
do
do it.
it.
Don't do it. Do not
Don't
ever. Don't
because
ever do that.
because what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas until you get married to a stranger.
Yeah.
You don't know who they are. That's
I
insane.
literally I'm sure there's like, people out there who it's worked, but I literally could not imagine meeting somebody and then 48 hours being like, yeah, I want to marry this person. I have literally been with Dag since I was 17. I couldn't imagine like not building. Like even if I met him as an adult, it would at least have to be like a 2 year minimum. Like if I were to meet him now, 2 years minimum before I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll marry you. Like I need to
Literally.
know you first. And even 2 years can be a little like short sometimes, you know? It just you just never know what people are really like.
Oh my God.
Crazy.
Crazy.
But it was impulsive, over the top, and it was pretty much exactly what you'd expect of a shotgun wedding in Vegas. It's actually the same chapel that J-Lo and Ben Affleck got married at in 2022.
Okay,
That
so
was
that's
a
kind of a
little,
flex.
yeah, that was a little bit of a tidbit. So they got J-Lo and Ben Affleck got married there in 2022. A little crazy. I'm sure lots of people have probably gotten married there before, but I thought that was a little fun.
It is fun.
Jasmine was a hopeless romantic, and she just wanted to believe in love. And Ryan, well, he sold himself as everything that she was looking for. Over the 5 months they were married, things became extremely volatile. Ryan was overly jealous, making him controlling and paranoid about literally everything. He was constantly checking her phones and text messages. He followed her around. He supposedly hated her job and hated her exes. I mean, it seems to me that he was just jealous that Jasmine actually had built a life for herself where she had actually earned everything she had, and his little man ego just couldn't handle it.
Ah, that ego
From
always
what
gets in the way.
oh, it always does. From what I had
Always.
read, there was tidbits that he kind of just like read the coattails of his dad, who was like actually like a really big real estate investor and developer in Canada. So he kind of just like rode that a little bit and
Nepo
came
baby.
his yeah, came his persona.
Mm.
Barely 3 months into their not only their relationship but their marriage, since they were married 48 hours after meeting, Ryan was charged with battery constituting domestic violence because he had hit Jasmine so hard in the arm he had pushed her into a pool and hurt her. So he was arrested and charged. It was a misdemeanor, and he had a court case for that upcoming December. So he would have, if this didn't happen, he would have been going to court and trial over her, a battery charge.
He should have. He should have went to jail right then and there. That is
Well,
crazy.
he should have went to jail for this too, but we'll get to that. We'll get to it. This wasn't the first time, though, that he had been charged for assaulting his partner. A few years earlier, in 2005, Ryan had pled guilty to common assault of a former girlfriend in Canada. This charge was somehow missed in a background check that was done for him when he got selected as a contestant for Megan Wants a Millionaire. You guys remember, like, the trashy TV, reality TV? I just mentioned it, the show, twice. Well, we're going to take a sidestep and talk about it really quick because weeks before Ryan murdered Jasmine, he left to film another reality TV show called I Love Money 3. He wanted to win the prize money of $250,000 that he claimed was for them. And when he met Jasmine, he was apparently in some kind of relationship with Megan Hauserman from Megan Wants a Millionaire. It's actually funny. I thought I didn't remember her, and I looked it up, and I do actually remember her. I was 12 when all of this was happening, and so I obviously like wasn't supposed to be watching reality TV, and I did watch it because, of course, older siblings, it's gonna happen.
Of course.
She was on Rock of Love Charm School, and I think there was like maybe one or two others. I know she did I Love Money, I think 2. I think she did I Love Money 2, and then they gave her own show. She just was a big personality. There's actually a clip of her with talking to Sharon Osbourne at a reunion show. I think it was for like Charm School. I think it was for the Rock of Love Charm School, and she like puts a jab out at Sharon about something, and Sharon like gets up and pretends like she's getting a drink, and I don't know what kind of drink it was. It looked like it was like a slushie or something, and she gets up and like turns around and like throws it at her and like tries to go after her. Real big sidestep because Megan did actually sue her over that for like trauma, like pain and suffering or something like that. It was ridiculous, but yeah, I thought that was crazy while I was like looking into all of that. But in an interview Megan did with Entertainment Weekly, she had admitted that she actually wanted Ryan Jenkins to be the winner, and that in between filming they had private phone conversations that no one knew about. She had tried to get his phone number from him, and they would like talk basically every single night after filming. She admitted that she did see red flags, but she thought that he was really sweet, so she kind of just like looked past it all. Which is crazy because how are you gonna say that like you were like, yeah, I could see red flags, but he was just so sweet. Like you literally could see it. Yeah.
No.
It's so funny because I don't really think he's like that. Like I think he's of the time, like good looking, but barely.
No.
Barely.
The goatee throws me off, the chin strap.
Yep. Yeah.
No.
That's what I mean.
No.
Like that was like of the time.
It was of the time for sure.
But like, no. Not for me.
But I'm a lesbian, so like he's not for me either.
So apparently he had fake Rolexes, and this is so disgusting. This man only brought one pair of pants for 5 weeks of filming.
Disgusting. He smells disgusting.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
I'm only gonna wear one pair of pants.
I don't understand,
No.
like, in the slightest bit at all. One pair of pants for 5 weeks of filming.
Disgusting.
That's literally disgusting. I want to throw up thinking, what made her, like, I don't even want to know what made her, like, want to like him, but, like, no.
Oh, that's a crusty, dusty man.
Yes.
No.
So production had a conversation with Megan about him, and she told them that she wanted him to win. Like she had even said that she told him that like she was gonna pick him, that like it was gonna be him. And after her conversation with production, they pretty much told her like people aren't gonna like him. Like they're not gonna like how he does his interviews. Like they're not gonna like how he comes off. And they just like couldn't really verify his wealth status well enough. They like knew something was like sketchy about him, but like he like got through the process. So I mean, they just kind of went with it. But they told her like you can't pick him. Like it has to be somebody else. So she agreed, and she like went into I think the next eliminations, and I can't remember if he was like a finalist or like close to it. But she didn't pick him, and he left, and he was apparently very upset when he left. And she had full intentions of reconnecting with him after filming, and reaching out and like wanting to continue an actual relationship with him. She didn't want to continue a relationship with whoever she was that she picked. I can't remember. Actually, the show never aired. Well, it aired, but it only aired for 3 episodes, which I'll talk a little bit more towards the end. But yeah, so the show only aired for 3 episodes because it started airing while while this happened. So that aired, like those 3 episodes, it was like, I think it was three, had aired when this happened. And immediately Viacom and like VH1 were like, this cannot be on air anymore. Like this is like hitting home. Like we're taking heat about that. I'll come back to that in a minute. So they pulled it from the air. I Love Money 3 had just finished filming like a couple weeks before this happened. I think it was like a week or two or days even before the actual like murder took place. He had like went and picked up a check for like his like time of filming I Love Money 3 and then like left. And then that everything happened, which I'll get to, but they ended up never airing I Love Money 3, so that never aired. And I did look up you can still look up like the first episodes that did air of Megan Wants a Millionaire, and it's really funny because I watched like a quick blip of the first one, and I remember it. I actually like it like unlocked memories for me. And I was like, wow, I actually kind of remember this a little bit. And I remember her clear as day because she always walked around with that little like chihuahua and
Yes.
like in everything that she was in. But I was like laughing about it. I was like, oh, I do kind of remember this. That's crazy though. Like who would have thought like little 12-year-old me would be like watching a show and like now here I am talking about it because why? Why are people
Why?
crazy? Yeah.
Why are people crazy? He was third,
He was
by the
third.
way.
Okay. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
So right before finals. Yeah, that's what it was. Thank you.
I, I this could all been avoided if they like double checked his wealth status.
Yeah. Well, if they had double checked his background check.
His background check
So
and
I'm
his
going to
wealth
talk about that a
status.
little bit more in a minute, but there was an issue with that. There was big issues with that. Like that became a whole thing. But Megan told EW that Entertainment Weekly that he was so upset after leaving the show that she had tried to talk to him, and he called her after and that told her that he met the love of his life in Vegas and that he married her. I mean, like, come on, like, can you imagine? You're calling this guy, you want to talk to him, you think you want to continue something with him. You're like, oh, we're just gonna, continue this relationship that we had started. He was so sweet, and I really liked him, and I hope no hard feelings. And then you get a phone call days later, and they're just like, hey, yeah, I just met somebody, and I already married them, but thanks, like, it was fun.
No.
Like, no, but of course, like he's a narcissist, so of course he needs to have like move on. He just wanted a trophy wife. And
Literally.
he was so quick to just want somebody on his arm, and Jasmine was just that person for him, unfortunately. Like he met her, took one look at her, and she was just that person of like, yep, this is going to be my trophy wife now. And he just could not handle that she was established and like doing things. I actually looked up for anybody that like has like watched MMA or whatever. Getty Images has like some photos of her from like parties and stuff. She actually has photos with Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. So two like pretty big name fighters like in the, you know, fighting world. I thought that was so crazy. I was like, oh my
That
God,
is
I can't
so
believe
crazy.
this. Like, because fight MMA is kind of like one of our things that we watch. And so, of course, like I know who they are. And I was like,
Oh,
wow, that's crazy. I didn't know that. And like she, just looking in those pictures, she was so pretty. She was so beautiful.
so
So
gorgeous.
beautiful. But anyway, back on track a little bit. On the set of I Love Money 3, contestants remember Ryan constantly calling Jasmine, asking her where she was, what she was doing. At the time, they just thought that he was kind of obsessed with her. Like the co founder of 51 Minds Entertainment, Mark Cronin, they're the ones who made the shows back then. He remarked, we were like, look at this guy. He's obsessed with this model he married. It was funny until it wasn't. Cronin had talked a lot about how this changed the course of reality TV, which we will talk a little bit about at the end, because it did kind of wake people up a little bit. But Ryan didn't win. He returned home to Jasmine, and the abuse continued. And this brings us back to the last night Jasmine was seen alive. Like I mentioned in the beginning, the night of Jasmine's disappearance on August 14th, 2009, she and Ryan had gone to stay at, here's back to the horrible pronunciation, I'm sorry, La Auberge Hotel in Del Mar, California. They went to a poker game, and then after that, they went to a party at the Ivy Hotel in downtown San Diego where they were spotted arguing. Jasmine left, and Ryan followed, and then he was seen on their hotel CCTV at 4:30 a.m. going to their room alone. The next morning, he emerged from his room for checkout, also alone. Ryan left with his clothes in hand and then went home. So he checked out with his clothes in hand and left. And as a checkout person, don't you think that's a little like suspicious? Like
That's sus as hell.
I mean,
What?
I guess for play devil's advocate here, like okay, they were arguing. She could have just taken her stuff and left, and like left, like took the luggage and left, and only left him with his clothes that he had. So like maybe that could have been, but like that's definitely I if I was like a
So
checkout for like
weird.
a hotel like person, I would be like, what the heck is happening right now?
Literally. I would go up and check the room immediately and be like,
There
what's
also
going
could have been
on?
two different people because like, you know, they
Totally.
didn't
Yeah.
could have been somebody else working that morning who didn't check them in the day before, and you know, obviously they might not know anything about who they checked in with and didn't. So they could have just been like, oh, maybe that person left already, left last night, or well, I wasn't here.
Yeah.
But it wasn't until about 9 p.m. that night, roughly around that time, that he finally reported Jasmine was missing. When he described her to the police, he said she had perfect teeth and had just gone to get her nails done.
I'm
This is
sorry?
important. This is important. So he described her to them, talked about her, and he said perfect teeth and just gone to get her nails done. Keep that
Okay.
right there because we're about to get to that. Meanwhile, in Buena Park, a suitcase was being found with a body in it, and it was none other than Jasmine Fiore. It was found by a local. I only saw the guy's name in one report, so I didn't want to put it in here just in case it was wrong information. But there was somebody who did find it, and from accounts of what I had saw, he had said was that he had found the suitcase while he was looking for recyclables, and he had gone to open it, and he saw skin. So he opened it further because he wanted to make sure, and he saw her body and called the police immediately to get it, you know, to have them come out and investigate everything. But I didn't want to include that guy because I wasn't sure if it was actually him or if it was a credible source. But that is something that I did see when I was doing my research. So I wanted to add that in there. But this, talking about Ryan, this disgusting piece of shit had not only beat her so bad that they couldn't immediately identify her, he removed her teeth and cut off her fingertips to try to hide her identity.
What the
Remember,
fuck?
I just said how he described her to the police, where he mentioned perfect teeth, and she just got her nails done.
That's sus as hell still. That puts you on a list because that's all you mentioned about her. And guess
Yeah,
what? This person doesn't have any of that. That's fucked up.
yeah, yeah. But Jasmine had something that this moron couldn't have ever have imagined would help identify her. I can't even believe that this is what identified her. During her autopsy, the coroner found that Jasmine had breast implants. Yeah, you heard that right. Jasmine was identified by her breast implants.
What the fuck?
That's what identified her. And that's amazing. I will
That's
be the first one
incredible.
to say, like, now I want a boob job because,
If I go missing,
hello.
you can
Yeah.
identify me by my breast implants.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
I want a boob job now.
So apparently implants have serial numbers on them, which makes sense when you really think about that. But I mean, they have to keep track of everything somehow with like stock, whatever. And God forbid something happens to like one of them and there's an issue like manufacturally or whatever with it while it's implanted, it makes sense for it to have a serial number so it can be kept track of. But that was what was able to be used to ID Jasmine. And that's amazing in my opinion. Like, that's so crazy. But between the missing persons report and the CCTV footage that showed the exact luggage the pair had showed up to the hotel with Jasmine's body found in it, Ryan was cooked. He was
What
now
an
the number
idiot.
one suspect and was wanted for questioning. There is again, it was didn't want to put too much about it, but I did see that the police officers, after finding all of this, they think that there's a theory of how they think that he did it. So I guess where their room was, they were able to go in the back door, like through I guess there was like a little balcony or whatever, and you were able to get to it. I didn't see if, like, I'm assuming that their room was on the first floor, if he was able to get into the room like that easy, or if it was even a little bit elevated. So what the assumption was that he went into the room alone, obviously to look like he had gone into his room, left through the back door, and took the suitcase and did everything that he did because we'll get to something that was important in a minute, but yeah,
Oh
that's
my
part of the
god.
theory. Yeah, so he was wanted for questioning, but he was gone. He had already left. He left the country already and had claimed immigration issues and went back to Canada, that he was having immigration issues and that he would come in for questioning. Apparently, his publicist had said, yeah, like he's going to, come talk to you guys. But he had already went to Canada for immigration
What?
issues. Yeah, he went back.
I'm
But
sorry,
this,
why couldn't the cops like take away his passport and force him to be in the US?
he was already gone. He literally reported her missing and then booked it out of his car was found in like some boat yard in like the north like west of Washington state. Like later on, somebody had reported his car because his car was obviously there was a bolo out for it, and somebody had found it like abandoned in like the northwest of like Washington state. So they had known that he was gone. But it didn't stop the manhunt. The police were not only looking for Ryan, but they were also looking for Jasmine's Mercedes CLS 550, which is just it's their sedan. When you think of a Mercedes sedan like this, you're probably picturing this car, four door, just a nice simple Mercedes. But it was a key piece of evidence and it was missing. So remember how I had said that they think that he went into the room, went out the balcony.
Mm-hmm.
When they found the car 11 days later on August 26th, it was called in with an anonymous tip to the Buena Park Police Department, who was handling the case, that it was in a parking lot that was next to a grocery store. When they investigated it, the police had found the interior of the car was covered in blood, primarily the back, alleging that most of the brutality happened in the back seat of the car. There was even hair found, so there was definitely a struggle there was definitely a bit of a fight. And I'd like to think that, she definitely tried to fight him off as best as she could. Obviously, since they didn't get to him right away, I mean, he did go into the police department to report her missing, but there's no reports of if he had any markings on his face or anything. So if there was anything on his body or even under his nails or anything, we don't know. There was also debris found underneath the car, like mud and branches and stuff, suggesting that it had been taken off road. So he brought her somewhere secluded and attacked her and did everything that he did to her, and then abandoned the car as soon as he could get her. The assumption, again, like I said, so is that he went back to the hotel by himself, went to the room, left the room with the suitcase, finished doing what he did, which I'm going to assume most of it took postmortem. I tried really hard to find the autopsy report to see if, the teeth and the fingertips were postmortem, or premortem, but I couldn't find it. I don't know if I just didn't look hard enough, but I couldn't find it in my search. So, he took that suitcase, dumped it behind that dumpster at the park, and that was it. So
Everything like had to line up for him to be able to do this, though. Like,
yeah.
A, not get pulled over, B, not have anyone around when you're assaulting your wife.
Mm-hmm.
And like no one shows up or hears the screams or anything. Like, oh my God. Just
Yeah.
so heartbreaking.
It is. It's especially heartbreaking because so there's some reports that would call her wife and some reports that would say ex-wife, because they were like kind of on again, off again. She had tried to leave a couple of times, and she went back. She just would go back to him, and her mom thinks that, that she just wanted to see better and wanted to hope for better. And that was why, she thinks that Jasmine kept going back to him. I had even seen reports that she had allegedly wrote up annulment papers, like had annulment papers drawn up, but she didn't do anything with them. So it looks like they had been estranged. It looks like they had been estranged before he had left to go film, and then he filmed, and they were, he was calling her and talking to her and trying to get her back, and they got back together. And obviously they were together when he came back from filming. He was gone for, I think it was like 5 weeks or a little bit more or something like that. So they, it wasn't, just full, the 5 months of them being, of her just trying every single time. It looks like there was some breaks in there, but unfortunately she just kept going back to him because they just really break you down. Narcissists just really, really break you down and pretty much make you believe that you don't deserve anything better. And it's just unfortunate. It's unfortunate that she kept going back to him because it ended up costing her life, and that's really sad. And that's not on her at all, obviously.
Not
I
at
want to make
all.
sure that that's not misconstrued in any way. That is not her fault. That is 110% his fault.
For being a slime ball
Yeah,
and making her
absolutely. He's
believe
disgusting.
and gaslight her to thinking
Yeah.
that he's going to change. Like,
Yeah,
that's
and
just,
then making her feel less than. I mean, she
yeah.
had a beautiful blossoming career. She was using that money to build into another life, of better and bigger things that she wanted for herself. And he just took it all away because he couldn't handle it. He couldn't handle that she was doing everything for herself that he wanted and he couldn't do. And all he wanted was for her to be a trophy wife, and that obviously wasn't her. Well, at the same time that this was happening, the Buena Park Police Department was working with the Royal Mounted Police, the RMP, to find Ryan. But he decided to forego being brought to justice because he decided to end his life on his own terms. So that's what I meant earlier when I said that he wasn't going to go to jail for this, because he decided to kill himself. What a weenie, in my opinion. Like, good
Not
riddance that he's
a
gone, but what a
weenie.
weenie that you could not face up to your
You couldn't
wrongdoings.
you couldn't face her family. You couldn't face her friends. You
You
knew what
face
you
your
did
own
was wrong,
family.
and you decided that it was you're going to take the easy way out instead of having to face what you did.
Yeah.
And that is so effed
Oh,
to
yeah.
me.
Yeah.
So effed.
Absolutely, 110%. Like, disgusting. I mean, good riddance that he's gone
Good
because,
riddance, but
but
like
he does he deserved to rot in jail for the rest of his life. He was found dead in his motel room in Hope, British Columbia on August 23rd, 2009. The cause of death was suicide by hanging, and he did leave behind a note labeled Will and Testament where he expressed to his family how sorry he was for the trouble he caused, and he did talk about Jasmine, about how she was the love of his life, but that she thought that he was cheating on her, and he would just go on and on about how he loved her, but she frustrated him, make him jealous. I mean, what a very true narcissist until the very, very end. But you know what wasn't in that note? A confession, an apology, nothing. Just victim blamed in his note.
he died a narcissist.
Yep.
He couldn't even face up to, oh my God.
In his final moments, he couldn't even face up to what he had done. He
No.
wrote out a note, apologized to his family, so he knew. You know, he obviously cared about somebody enough that he wanted to apologize to his family. And I think that was more for I made you look bad, I made this family look bad than really anything else. Because I don't think he was actually sorry
I
about
don't think he
anything like
felt bad at all. The
he was
fact that he
narcissist.
was like the fact that he was like, she was cheating on me.
Yeah.
So, and like talking badly about the woman that you brutally murdered and put in a suitcase. Like,
Yeah.
you are a piece of work, man.
Oh, absolutely.
God. I
Yep.
hope you're burning in piss in hell.
Yes, I full heartedly agree to that. Because that's just horrible. That's it. I was, I mean, I can't say I was shocked. I want to say shocked, but I guess speechless would be like the best term. Because, like, I'm not shocked that a narcissist victim blamed it, like, till the very end, because that's what they do. But I am a little, like, speechless that, like, you just, of course, you're not going to give them, like, you know, that final closure, I guess. And the family I know did talk about it. Her family did talk about it a little bit in interviews. That obviously they were disappointed that he was not brought to justice, but it did bring some kind of closure for them. That they were able to start the process of like grief in that sense of moving on. From that, but they were definitely disappointed and upset that he didn't get the justice that he deserved, and I would be too. I am for them that he didn't get the justice that he deserved. I'm very upset about that because he definitely deserved to just rot in jail for the rest of his life and not have
Absolutely.
anything else. So despite no justice being served, there was something that came out of this. So Megan Wants a Millionaire, like I had mentioned, had just started airing. Only 3 episodes aired, and the network pulled it from air. I Love Money 3 never aired because Ryan Jenkins' connection to it, to the reality TV world, and that shoddy background check that was done on him, it caused some serious media backlash about the vetting process in reality TV, and I mean rightfully so. If TMZ was able to pull his records in Canada so easily, because TMZ did pull his records from Canada, then why couldn't the companies that were doing the background check? So the company in the so this is essentially the way it worked. I'll go with this. What happens is that VH1 and Viacom, who drops these episodes, like these shows that does all of this stuff, and 51, what were they? What was that called again? 51. Where did I mention that? Hang on one second. I'm sorry. 51 Minds Entertainment. I forgot what the name of that was. So what they did was they would go out to these background companies, they would go to these companies and say, hey, we need, background checks done on all of these people. They would do like well over like 500,000 like background checks like at any given point in time for various different, networks and different things that they were doing. One of the companies that they used was called Collective Intelligence. And Collective Intelligence was, I think, like a PI unit from what I had read, like a PI department or company that did, background checks. And they outsourced it to or to Spotlight. Spotlight was who did the background check for Canada because they did not, the company that was used in the US didn't have access to the Canadian records. So they outsourced it to Collective Intelligence, who had a contract with Spotlight for those background checks. And it didn't come back. It just didn't come back. And because of this, for whatever reason, it didn't come back in their records. And because of this, Viacom dropped Collective Intelligence altogether. And in turn, Collective Intelligence, because that really screwed them, the owner of the company had said that she had to lay off like a ton of employees because of this, because it really screwed their business. They ended up at some point suing Spotlight for breach of contract, and they did win the settlement. So that was something. I mean, obviously something came out of that they fucked up somewhere along the line, because the I can't remember her name, and I should have put it in here and I did not. That was my bad. But she had said that, this was something like she asked them, like, what did you do? What was the process? How did this not come up? And then there was just nothing coming back from them. They were just completely shutting down, not answering, because they were also getting blowed up from, Viacom and everything, and the media frenzy. And just there was no real answer from what I looked at as to like why it didn't come up. Like there was just no real answer given. And it's crazy because again, TMZ, which like it's TMZ, like they
It's
can find
TMZ.
literally anything. But like at the same time, like this is your job, is to look for backgrounds, like to do full checks, and it didn't come up. Like that doesn't make it, and it wasn't sealed. It wasn't. There was nothing. It was there. It was there. It just didn't come up. Um, Around this time, dating shows were kind of already starting to lose their appeal. By 2010, reality TV world had kind of started to pivot. You got into the more docu-series-esque type shows. There was a Rock of Love, like a Bret Michaels one, like docu-series-esque, kind of followed him. This is where we start to see like Jersey Shore come in on MTV and all of those kinds of shows. This is where we start to like really get like the love and hip hop, like this is where all of that came from, because they really turned away from from reality TV dating, which is so funny because now it's a huge comeback with like Love Island and all of these other ones, and
All
this
of these
started
other
like
dating shows.
it's so crazy to think about too, because like they all went away and then they all came back just like on different networks. I mean, MTV still kind of does them a little bit. I don't actually, no, that's a lie. They really don't anymore.
No,
Um,
mostly now it's like Netflix,
yeah, now it's like
Hulu, the
Netflix where
major.
it's like huge on. And of course, we have like Bachelor and Bachelorette and now Golden Bachelor, which has been like long standing running because people just love that show. And it's really funny. I used to obviously watch like stuff like that when I was like back in the day, like we used to watch like Next and like all that kind
Yes.
of stuff. And now I have like such a hard time watching reality TV because I get such secondhand embarrassment from it that I'm like, I can't, it's so cringy. I'm like, I can't watch this anymore. So like, I don't watch any of those like Love Island or any of that stuff. Like, I see people talk about it all the time, but I just like, I'm not into it anymore. It's so funny.
I'm definitely not into like Love Island or any of like the straight presenting shows, but the queer
Yeah.
ones, oh baby. Oh baby. The
Yeah.
queer ultimatum. Oh, that's a whole nother level of
See, I've never
toxic.
even like heard of that one. I know there's like so
So good.
many, like there's just so many different shows and I don't really know even half of them. I think Love Island is like the only one that I like actually know of because people talk about it so often. Like, it's literally all over my feed all the time. And I'm like, I don't even know why I get anything about this because I don't watch it. I don't watch anything to do with this. I don't follow anybody who has anything to do with it. Besides, like, if you've ever heard of Chicks in the Office, I
Yes.
love them. They're great. They talk about stuff like that. I follow them on stuff. So, like, maybe that's why. But I don't know. It's just not my cup of tea anymore.
Right.
But did change a little bit of the vetting process. I mean, it has become a little bit more, but it still is not standardized. It varies from network to network. But it does seem that they, have been doing some more due diligence in that process now. So it has, it shifted, it made everything kind of shift gears and pull away and kind of really, you know, my like Mark Cronin, who I talked about before from 51 Minds Entertainment, he had said that it, he says now, and of course it's so easy to like after everything is said and done to be like, well, I had, a feeling, but I didn't go with that feeling. And it's like, it's so easy to be like, well, like, oh, like I knew something was off about that person, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
it's, you never actually, it's so easy to say that post, but, he says that he has from now on has, and this is from an interview that was done in 2020, so not that long ago, where he said that he does now kind of listen to his gut a bit more. If he feels like something might be off about a person, he either looks into it a little bit more or he just doesn't go with that person in general, instead of just being like, well, maybe they're okay. But again, hindsight is 2020. It's always easier to talk about that stuff after the fact.
Definitely. I mean, I don't know. Dude was creepy on the show. I looked at some photos of him. I would have not let him on there. He looks like a
That is
shady
why
character.
producers didn't want him to win, was because he did horrible in interviews and just did like they just didn't. He was creepy. He was creepy.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying. I looked up like last night. I looked up like videos of it because I was like I kept thinking about it, so I wanted to see, and I was like, I do vaguely remember him, like just seeing pictures of him like on the internet. I'm like, no, I don't remember him like at all. I don't remember seeing anything. And then like watching clips of the show, I was like, oh, I kind of do. Like I said, it unlocked like a whole memory bank for me of like all of these shows that I used to watch, and that happened to be like, I guess I saw it when it did air because I do remember like a little bit about it. And obviously I was too young to like remember like it just being pulled off the air or the murder or anything like that. And that,
Yeah.
so it's crazy. But there you have it. A story that started with roses and reality TV and ended with a suitcase behind a dumpster. Jasmine Fiore's life was full of potential, beauty, ambition, heart, and all of it was cut short by a man who just couldn't handle her light outshining his fragile, fragile ego. Ryan Jenkins wasn't a millionaire. He wasn't even close. What he was controlling, insecure, and a violent man who used charm to cover up the darkness underneath. And thanks to a broken vetting process and a rush for ratings, he ended up on national television and in Jasmine's life.
That's so heartbreaking. I mean, I just keep on looking at all of these pictures of her, and I'm just like, she could have done so much.
Oh.
Like, she literally shined. Like,
Yeah.
the red carpet photos that you have,
Yeah.
even like some of the high school photos of her, I'm like,
I
she is
know.
drop dead
Yes,
gorgeous.
so pretty. And her eyes, oh my
Oh my
gosh.
God.
They're just striking. Striking.
Oh,
She was beautiful.
she was gorgeous.
She was
And what
beautiful.
a fragile, fragile man.
Yeah. Yeah. And like we said, just completely didn't take any responsibility for it and ended his own life instead of rotting in prison where he should be. So,
Breaks my heart.
I know. Well, that is the end of tonight's story. Whether it's crime, conspiracy, or straight up spooky, we're going to keep talking about it. So like, follow, and stay tuned for new episodes each week because it'll just keep getting dark and spooky from here. Stay nosy and stay spooky, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.